Hello students. In the last we discussed about the what is mean by photogrammetry and what are the types of photogrammetry, right? So then we saw the we have two types of photogrammetry. One is it is going to take photos from the ground level, right? So that is called okay, so that is two types of photogrammetry we are having. That is terrestrial photogrammetry and aerial photogrammetry, right? So terrestrial means we are going to take the photos from the ground level, okay, on or near the ground, and second is going to take from the flying over the area, right? So next, terrestrial photogrammetry, okay. So here the terrestrial photogrammetry again can be divided into two things, that is plane table photogrammetry, then terrestrial stereo photogrammetry. So plane table means as the plane table, then you have the stereo principles for the taking photogrammetry, right? So now aerial photogrammetry is going to look like this, right? So next, in the World War I, they had some importance, okay? So next we are going to have the things, okay? So you have a flight like this, we have all the photos will be coupled like this. Then we have the types of aerial photographs, that is vertical aerial photograph and oblique photography, okay? Low oblique and high oblique photograph, right? So vertical aerial photograph, okay? So here we have a 12 cm plus 3 from the perpendicular. Overhead photogrammetry, right? Next we have a low altitude, right? So low altitude, medium altitude, then high altitude based on the high image, right? So based on the image, if you are at low height, it is low, medium, and very high means high altitude. Then oblique means on what angle will be there, right? So incline about 30 degrees, okay? So it will be look like this. So high oblique photography, where we have the angle of 60. Instead of last case we have 30, here we have 60. Then we have basics of aerial photo camera, right? So it have so many things. So these things again we are going to discuss now, right? So aerial camera, right? Aerial photogrammetry camera, right? So the primary function of terrestrial camera as well as the aerial camera is the same, right? So whatever principle behind the camera which is working for the terrestrial photogrammetry will be same as the aerial for camera, right? So that is of taking pictures. Taking the pictures will be the same. However, since that aerial camera is mounted on a fast moving aeroplane, right? So in the case of terrestrial photogrammetry, the camera is fixed to one location and we are going to collect all the values, right? So but in case of aerial camera, right? So it is mounted, it is going to fixed, right? It is going to fix it to the right aeroplane at bottom, right? So here we have a moving aeroplane. It is requirements are very difficult, right? So here the aerial camera requires fast lens, right? You have to capture the images very fastly. High speed shutter, right? So open close. It has to be have high speed shutter and high speed film. Okay, it has to roll very high speed. Then magazine to hold large rolls of film, right? So once magazine is there now, so rolling the magazine, okay? So you can see here, this is the reel, okay? This is called magazine, right? So to hold the things, and we have a film over this, so it has to move very fastly, and we have a shutter, right? And I have a lens, right? So fast lens, high speed shutter, high speed film, right? So next, magazine to hold the large number of photos, okay? So normally this aerial camera consists of the following essential parts, that is lens assembly, right? Including lens, diaphragm, shutters and filter, right? So next, the camera cone, okay? The camera cone. Next, focal plane, and then camera body, okay? So drive mechanism, magazine, okay? So drive mechanism, we have some electrical motor so that it is going to be rolled, and to hold all the rolls of the photographs we have the magazine, and outer part we have the camera body, right? We have some distance focal plane, then we have a camera cone like this, so then we have the lens assembly to capture the things, right? Next you can see here this is the film or focal plane, okay, where we have got all the images, okay. So this is the core and this is the reel and this is the lens and diaphragm. Then we have a optical axis from the center exactly from here there, okay. So then you have a camera body, like these are the parts of camera, okay. So now we are going to discuss about the definitions and nomenclatures which are used in the aerial photogrammetry, okay. So the vertical photograph, it is an aerial photograph made with the camera coinciding with the direction of gravity, okay. That means if you are having an area exactly perpendicular, you are going to take the photograph. That type of photograph is called vertical photograph. Then coming to the second one, tilted photograph, okay. A tilted photograph is an aerial photograph made with the camera axis unintentionally tilted from the vertical by small amount, usually less than 3 degrees, right. So if you have tilted the camera somewhat not less than 3 degrees, okay, so that is called tilted photograph. Then coming to the third one, oblique photograph. It is an aerial photograph taken with the camera axis directed intentionally between the horizontal and the vertical. If the apparent origin is shown in the photograph, it is said to be high oblique. If the apparent origin is not shown, it is to be low oblique. So already with the angle, if less than 30 degrees, it is called low oblique. It is greater than 60, that is called high oblique. Already we discussed this point, right, previously. So next, perspective projection, right. So a perspective projection is the one produced by a straight lines radiating from a common point and passing through the point on the sphere of the plane of the projection, right. So this, here you can see. So this is the camera and film where it is located, right. So this is the lens of the camera and the area which is captured on the ground is from this point to this point, where everything will be tilted. If C1 is here, okay, on the camera C1 will be in the film it will goes to here, right. So if A1 is here on the camera, it is in the opposite direction, right. So now what is telling now, the perspective projection is a projection is the one produced by straight lines radiating from a common point and passing through the sphere of the plane of the projection, right. Next, a photograph is a perspective projection, right. So this is called perspective projection. Next, exposure station. It is the point in the space in the air, okay, occupied by the camera lens at the instant of exposure. Precisely, it is the space position of the front nodal point at the instant of exposure, right. So now you can see here, this is the point where the thing is getting exposed now. So that is called, okay, exposure station, from where the lens is going to expose. Next, flying height. Flying height means it is the elevation of the exposure station above the sea level or any other selected datum, right. So here the height from this thing, okay, from here to here, from datum, this is thinking as a datum, this is called height of flying height. Next, coming to the flying line. It is the line drawn on a map to represent the track of the aircraft. If this point continuously taking what is called photos now, so that is called flying line. Next, focal length, right. So it is the distance from the front nodal point of the lens to the plane of the photograph, right. So if this is the, here is the lens and this is the total area to be captured on the photograph, right. So from here, from photographs to the front nodal point is here, it is there. The distance between these 2 points in the front, that is called focal length, okay. So it is the distance from the front nodal point of the lens to the plane of the photograph. It is also the distance of the image plane from the rear nodal point, right. So image to rear nodal point also is the distance, okay. Equivalent focal length is the distance of the image plane from the rear nodal point, yielding the best average definition, right. So rear to the what is called front image plane, right. Rear nodal point to here. Next, principal point. It is the point where perpendicular dropped from the front nodal point strikes the photograph, okay. So this is the thing, okay. Principal point, right. If you are dropping from here vertically a line, no, so that is called the principal point, okay. So principal point, okay. Next, nadir point. It is a point where plumb line dropped from the front nodal point pierces the photograph, right? So if this is the straight line, both points will be the same. If it is got tilted now, so plumb line will go and strike at some other point. So that is called nadir point. Next, ground nadir point. It is the datum intersection with the plumb line through the point, nodal point. It is the point on the ground vertically beneath the XOR of the station, that is the point, right? It is the datum intersection with the plumb line. Okay, if you have a to represent height of the flying height, we have a datum now. So if you have a plumb line like this, right? So now it is the datum intersection with the plumb line through the point, nodal point. Okay, so where it is got now, this is a ground nadir point. Okay, so next, tilt. It is the vertical angle defined by the intersection at the exposure station of the optical axis with the plumb line. Okay, so if plumb line is like this, if your plumb line is like this, if you are having camera axis same thing now, so we don't have any tilt. If there is any angle is there, that is called tilt. Okay, next, principal plane. It is the plane defined by the lens. Okay, so the ground nadir point N and the principal point produced by the ground. Okay, so here what is telling now, the ground nadir point. Okay, it is the ground nadir point. Okay, and the principal point produced to the ground, same thing will become here now. So now it is thus a vertical plane containing the optical axis such as the plane, right? So from this diagram you can see here all the things. Okay, so next class, in the next thing we are going to continue with these definitions. Okay.